From Lalate headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons Lalate.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA. Incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. From the shores of Santa Monica, your major money going live, and the big sums of money, including those $80,000 checks, are already paying out. We'll go over in this incredible video the 4 stimulus add-on. $80,000 of stimulus checks went live on Monday, and it's across the nation. We'll be looking at the exciting details of that new program. We call it the 4 stimulus add-on, $15,000 to $80,000 of checks across the board. We'll be looking at the 6th stimulus package that will be happening at the same time as the 4th. Because of recessionary concerns today, and the price of gasoline still spiraling out of control. We'll be looking back at Build Back Better Act that is still being passed, and that incredible sums of money is needed in view of the energy situation. Then we'll be looking at CRFA stimulus, what happened overnight, SS300, what happened this week as well, and what will happen next week as the FOMC meeting is happening and will signal where inflation is going. But we're going to start, of course, with those incredible big checks of the $80,000 now live. And we'll be looking at the 6th stimulus package now happening because of what is lying between the United States, France, and Germany. It's a big recording, and then we'll be looking at what's happening overseas that impacts your money at home. In a big day with a lot of money, it's all happening at the same time. We have those $80,000 of checks now paying out. It's that 4 stimulus add-on, it's live, and it's already paying. We have the Build Back Better Act happening, going to the finish line. We have the latest updates on CRFA stimulus overnight, and then SS300 major developing details in view of that inflation number released on Thursday, and new numbers released this morning. It's a big broadcast from the shores of Santa Monica, from West Coast to East Coast, from domestically to internationally. The news is right here, and the news starts right now as Afternoons LA gets underway. And good afternoon, everybody. What a big day it is, with incredible sums of money with your 4 stimulus recon heating up. The details across the board is that an alliance to get oil prices down, heating up, but can they do it sooner or rather than quicker? We'll be looking at the recessionary concerns as well, and the new price of gasoline going up, going down, what it means for your money. Then we'll be looking at that CRFA stimulus and what happened with that inflation concern overnight. And then also that big $80,000 of checks. That's where we're going to find that excitement. And the money starts right here with the situation unfolding domestically, internationally. It's a big day. I'm excited you're here with the big sums of money. But first, we're going to start with the incredible Build Back Better Act, which is going to the finish line. In view of what's happening domestically and internationally, those incredible checks going to the finish line. What's at issue? 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons in addition to this map. When you get to this map in just a second, because this map is already paying out. And if your state is in pink, don't worry, because your state is already taking applications. There is money in every single state. We're going to go over this map and those $80,000 of checks in just a second. But first, let's start with the Build Back Better Act. It's huge. And it's the 4 stimulus recon. It's 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons, and it's going to the finish line. And we're going to look at all those incredible checks right now in overview. But tonight in prime time, at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we go over these checks on America's Most Watched show in prime time, Evenings LA. There's about $15,000 of checks across 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. In that first cluster, we have hazard pay and my money for my elders, $4,000. $4,000 for young children, and then the $3,600 for them as well. Then the Pell Grant, the money for nutrition, and the money for a new car. That is an electric car, $12,500. The first add-on of checks comes from here in the shores of Southern California. Maxine Waters got it in there. Just a little bit less for the purchase of your first home, given to the seller in your name by the federal government at the time of escrow. That is the first of 3 add-on checks. Now, when we go to the second cluster checks, we get even more checks across the board. In that second cluster checks, we have home repairs to weatherize your home, and also paid leave. Paid leave is a lot of money, folks, and that it could be upwards of $5,000 to $6,000. That paid leave is huge because it's for individuals who have to take off from work due to sickness or illness across the board. That again is the second of two clusters of checks with that incredible home repairs and paid leave. In that second add-on of checks, we get even more checks, and that is the incredible money for free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. It's a Bob Casey add-on, a Joe Biden campaign promise, and it got in there just a little bit less than $250 billion for free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. In that third cluster of checks, we have that seniors and free internet. Tonight in prime time on Evenings Lalate at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. You're going to see all these incredible checks in prime time, gone over one at a time. It's your money. You need to tune in. It's Evenings LA tonight. It's America's most watched financial news show in prime time. In that third cluster of checks, we have seniors and free internet, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, and also lots of checks for seniors, dental, vision, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, and also the Medicaid gap fix. That's the seniors. And the senators vow they're going to add a lot of checks to this recon. And among the checks they vow to add are MSC. MSC is a body of monthly IRS stimulus checks that would come to you across the board. The legislators represent a viewership of this channel that the eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it. Double it. Family of four, you get as well. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, and veterans benefits, congratulations, you get it as well. It's not income. It's not taxable. It's offered on a nationwide basis. It's not state stimulus. And it is offered even for adult dependents. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. This is the MSC, and this is a third of three add-ons to the fourth stimulus recon. That is the Build Back Better Act. But the incredible great news is that there is a add-on, or what I call an ancillary piece of legislation to Build Back Better that has already become law. Yes, Build Back Better hasn't become a law, but $80,000 checks are law. And it's this map right here. In the second half of this video, I'll be going over this incredible program. And these are $15,000 to $80,000 of stimulus checks, number one. Number two, it is offered in every single state across the country. Yesterday in last night's Evenings LA broadcast, some people were freaking out as they saw the color pink. Now, the color pink is a beautiful color. I mean, I wear pink all the time. I love the color pink. But people saw the color pink and they saw it was red. They thought it was, Vladimir Putin Russian red. It's not a bad color. Let me make very clear, and I'm going to go over this map after the commercial break. Every state has this program. Repeat, every state has this program. If you're in the United States, you have this program. If you're in France or Germany, you don't have this program. But if you're in the United States, you have this program in every state. So if you see the color pink in your state, like Nevada or Mississippi or South Carolina, do not think that that means you're not getting money. It means that your state has slower computer systems, literally. It literally means that your state has slower computer systems or don't have a high-tech IT department like Missouri or Nebraska, because in those states, their computer systems have gone live with the programs. Let's use Ohio, for example. Ohio's pink. And overnight on Instagram, someone sent me a message saying, my state's Ohio, and Ohio doesn't care, never has money for anyone. We're pink, we have no money. Since it's pink, we have no money. I said to the viewer, that's not what the pink means. It means that your state has old computer systems, and they move very slowly. So the program has not gone live. In fact, if you go to Ohio's website for the program right now, it says, we're taking pre-submission applications. So they're actually taking the applications right now. You want to pre-authorize, and I'm going to go over what pre-authorization of applications are. If you're new to this channel, I've detailed them a lot for EID on PUA in the last 2 years. But pre-authorization may be new for viewers, so we're going to go over that in a second. Ohio, pink, accepting applications right now, not paying the money right now, but telling citizens, get the application on file. So if you're sitting back in Ohio and saying, there's no money in Ohio, good luck. Your neighbor just got their application in, and they're going to get paid, and you can sit back and saying, pink was a horrible color, when it was absolutely a wonderful color. More about that in a second after the commercial break. But the other surprising developing detail overnight was the CR for stimulus. The CR for stimulus. What happened? Well, the continuing resolution became law overnight. Yes, it became law. The continuing resolution with $1.5 trillion in discretionary funds became law, passed by the House and by the Senate, and will be signed by the President of the United States, presumably. Why did it become a law? It became a law because they made concessions to take things out and not include stuff. So, did they get a stimulus check in there? They did not get a stimulus check in there from the federal government, but they surprised everyone. For the first time in nearly a decade, certainly longer than the existence of this channel, they got in their state stimulus in many territories across the country. This is as the President of the United States did not get his money into the CR and is vowing to do another body of legislation this week coming up. Wow. So let me recap again. The continuing resolution, done. The March deadline, done. Passed, law. Did not get a national stimulus check in there, but got a lot of local stimulus programs for districts across the country. In the case of Georgia, go to Georgia local news. They talk about all their districts getting these particular programs funded in the CR. This has never happened in nearly 10 years, says all the reports. So it's very unusual that you have it's basically county stimulus, which obviously I can't cover on this channel. There's too many counties to cover. County stimulus got in there. You think maybe they were watching this channel last year? We like the idea of CR for stimulus. Let's just do it on county level. And that's what they did. It's amazing that a year ago, we got a $600 stimulus check into the December 2020 CR. And everyone said, you can't put a stimulus check in there. It's money for the federal government. And now a year later, all these legislators must have been watching, and they came back and got county stimulus in there for a continuing resolution, which is usually to fund the federal government. Wow. So what is the update on it? The Joe Biden situation is very fluid because he did not get his money in there. He wanted COVID money in there, and he didn't get in there. So the latest comment today is that the White House is coming back with another piece of legislation, and it's going to be unveiled as early as perhaps the time you watch this video or in the next 7 days. My biggest concern is that at this point we have to get something done that'll also have Republican support in the Senate, says the comments from Raja Kinamori, who's a Democrat from Illinois. They're basically saying we have to come back and have more money. Jen Psaki, the press secretary to Joe Biden, says this is not acceptable. If we had that money to move around, we'd be moving around. Our assessment is we need additional funding, and we need to get this done right now. So the takeaway, you're going to see another piece of legislation. I don't know what I'm going to call it. CR for Stimulus 2.0. You're going to see CR for Stimulus 2.0 in the next 7 days on this channel. And that could potentially get a stimulus check in there. Joe Biden's going to push to get it in there. I don't know if he's going to have bipartisan support for it. It's a very fluid situation. Now, let's go to that SS300. Really surprising news overnight. And surprising developing details today as well. This has changed literally every few minutes. You know, the news cycle on SS300 is literally changing by the hour. Let me tell you what the breaking news on it right now at the time of this recording is. Wall Street believes that the inflationary pressures are actually higher than they are, mean that the inflationary rate is actually higher than where it was yesterday, and that Jay Powell will maybe pivot a little bit stronger. Why? The 10-year Treasury note at the time of this recording surged 1 basis point. That's a lot. To 2% at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at the time of this recording, being made in the morning before it airs in the afternoon. The yield on the 30-year Treasury note surged overnight as well to 2.39%. If you've been with this channel for a year, we've not seen these rates in a while. So this is huge. Why is this happening? This is because many think that inflation is here to stay and is not going away. I'll read you the quote. Inflation is here to stay. That's the quote from Tanas Papavavas, who's a founder and chief investment officer at ABP. He says that we've got inflation and we think the rates are going to continue rising. There's a risk of stagflation, so that's not good. Stagflation, what does that word mean? You may have heard it briefly on this channel, but let me tell you what it means. It means that you have inflation going up, and then the cost of, and then your salaries are going down, or that the economy is shrinking. An example is, let's say you own a business and the business is making less money this year than last year, but it's costing more money to operate the business. Another example, you work at a department store and you're making the same salaries you made last year. Your salary hasn't gone up, but the bread and milk you buy costs more money. That's stagflation, where the economy is shrinking or stagnant, and yet the cost of living is going up. So what happened yesterday, if you tuned in yesterday on this channel? The CPI number was released on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. live on air. And that number for that consumer price index signaled where inflation was for January 2022. Did it come in at 8% as I predicted? It did. I had predicted 8%. It came in 7.9%. This is after I last year was the only one who correctly predicted the December number months advance. Wall Street and Jay Powell were all looking at 1 to 2% inflation in December. I said, no, it's going to be 8% in December. I see a big problem. That was before I even that was in the spring of last year, before we even had the Vladimir Putin troops at the Ukrainian border in around Halloween. So I saw inflation in December at 8%. So where did it come in yesterday? 8%. And what is also the major developing detail yesterday? And this one's hard to gauge, I got to tell you. This was a announcement by Jay Powell's counterpart in Europe. Jay Powell, who is he? He is the head of the Federal Reserve in the United States. What is his job? His job is to bring down our inflation. How does he do it? He does it by raising interest rates. How quickly? One time per meeting over the next 5 months. These meetings are called the FOMC meeting. How much of a raise? Well, that's the big question. And would there be 2 raises in one meeting? At the moment, we're looking at 1 raise per meeting. And he's given us an indication that he's going to do a quarter basis point in March in the March meeting. And then stay with that indefinitely unless the situation gets more entangled with Vladimir Putin. That was a comment by Jay Powell last week. Now, here's the concern, is you want that COLA to be swapped out for inflation by your president, Joe Biden, right now, while inflation's high. And it's good because inflation is still high. I got it right, and you're still in that buffer zone that is good. The situation is that an inflationary rate was 8% in December, 8% in January, and will stay 8% for March because whatever Jay Powell does now will not impact us until about April. So, translation, Joe needs to make the phone call. Hashtag Joe make the call. Joe make the call to that Social Security administrator. Swap out COLA for inflation. I'm not asking for something that I invented. I'm just asking him to do something that he has at joebiden.com. When running for president, and then as president during his platform at joebiden.com, he said he would swap out COLA for inflation. Swapping it out now at the highest inflationary rate of a generation would lock you into this high rate. That high rate now is 8%. That would raise your benefits up about $200 a month right now. And even if Jay Powell gets inflation down later this year to 4%, then that would be another $100 later this year. So you want Joe to make that phone call and swap it out now. Swapping it out now would be in view of all these world events. And swapping out now is a buffer zone because Putin may act up even worse and Powell may pivot even more by April with potentially a half basis point. Those Treasury bond yields this morning are so important because why am I bringing up Treasury yield bonds for your SS300? Let me explain to you. It's all analysis. Your SS300 is buffered based upon inflation. You want to lock in that inflationary number. Remember, the way your benefits work, once they go up, they never go down. They're tied to a benchmark. The benchmark currently is a COLA. Swap it out for inflation. Swap it out when inflation's highest right now, and then lock in that highest rate. And you are stuck with that highest rate for a lifetime. You can still go up higher, but you're never going to go down. That's how it works. Now, what are we looking at? We're looking at what the inflationary rate is. Okay, we got that number yesterday. We're looking at where the inflation number will come down. We're looking at Jay Powell. And then we're looking at what Wall Street analysts are thinking about, the sort of pivoting. And that's what they're doing with the 10-year Treasury note. They're bringing the 10-year Treasury note up today. Up. So what does that mean? They think inflation is actually worse than the CPI number yesterday. Remember, the number's delayed a month out. So again, this is also good news for you because you don't want inflation going down before they swap out from COLA to inflation. Meantime, also really good is $80,000 of checks. It's gone live. And we're going to go over that incredible map in more detail. I've been on top of the subject matter. This channel was the very first place in the United States to unveil an $80,000 fourth stimulus add-on or ancillary piece of legislation. It's law, and it's paying out. And we're going to go over that incredible map more in detail. I told you that I would first announce it to you before anyone else. I did. Then I told you as soon as it goes live, I've had the details for you before anyone else. I said I did. And then I said I would monitor the situation, explain to you how it works and how it's going live and what's different from state to state. This is brand new. I'm going to go over tonight in this afternoon's Ally broadcast. It's in view of those people who saw pink and freaked out. Yeah, no, you don't want to worry about pink. You want to worry about Putin red. Yeah, Putin red is what you want to freak out, not pink. It's coming up in the second half of this video. We got a big afternoons, LA. We're just getting started. And then we got those 6 stimulus. Yes, 6 stimulus will be happening at the same time as all these other sums of money. Boy, what a great afternoon's broadcast we have coming up. Stay with me. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Afternoons LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Late Daily for the excitement of the new LA Late live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA Late at 9 a.m. Home LA Late returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now in the big second half of Afternoons L8. What a day it is, as $80,000 of stimulus checks are going live. And are you ready to get them? We're going to go over all those incredible details of those checks with this big map in just a second. It's huge, and it's a fourth stimulus add-on is what I call it. It's an ancillary piece of legislation that is now live, and it's paying out those checks. We're going to go over what this map means and why the color pink is not something to freak out about and think, see red. Then we'll be looking at sixth stimulus. It's happening at the same time as fourth and fifth. Yes, all at the same time. The stimulus packages often overlap. And then, of course, we'll be looking back at third stimulus, which is still paying out across the board. It's a big second half of this video, and we'll be looking at what's happening with Vladimir Putin that impacts your money at home. But first, as we go into the big second half, let's start with this incredible Build Back Better Act add-on. I call it a fourth stimulus add-on, and it's this map. What is this map for? It is for these incredible $15,000 to $80,000 of stimulus checks. Now, if you're in a respective state and you see a color, do not freak out. I'm going to start by saying the following very clearly again. Every state has the program. Every state has the program. The color delineation is referring to the stage of where the program has gone live. So the colors do not mean that a state doesn't have it or a state does have it. The colors mean the program is live or is in pre-authorization or is about to go live. Every state will have the program. So let me explain to you what the color delineation means at the moment. And this situation changes by the moment every day, folks. The color delineation means that if you're in a teal color state like California, Florida, or Nebraska, the program's already live, meaning if you file the application today, you can get funded as early as today. That actually what it's meant to say live. Now, there is some slight inaccuracies in even the color zone because, for example, it says New York is alive. It is alive, but you can't get funded today. So New York is almost like a pink, where it is live, but the funding is not live yet, which is a little bit different. Now, in the case of pink, last night, viewers was freaking out, saying, oh, South Carolina pink, I'm not getting any money. That means there's no money. Ohio pink means there's no money. Someone sent a message to me on Instagram. Untrue. That's not what the pink means. And obviously, I lapsed in not explaining every single color delineation of the color wheel here. The pink delineates that the state has now gone into pre-authorization mode. What is pre-authorization mode? It means you don't have the pounces per block, folks. It means you need to get that application on file. It means you need to move. The takeaway from before I get into the specifics is every state, you need to apply right today. There's no state where you do not apply. You start applying today. Let me go over the notion of a pink environment, a pink state environment. Because if you're a very, very OG, original gangster viewer of this channel from day one, you know what pre-authorization looks like. It's very important. It's very, very important. There was a week in, I think it was May 2020, where Javita Carranza, the head of SBA, she said, we may reopen SBA's EIDL grants for 2 days, in a few days. She surprised us all, and she opened them on Monday. I told viewers, go apply today. They did, and then by Thursday, it was shut down. It was out of money. It was literally that quick. There was April 25th of this channel where I pressed record on the very first unemployment assistance video on this channel, and I said, hey, there's a program called PUA. It's about to go live. Get your application on file. California, not live, but get your application on file. Missouri, not live, put your application on file. Florida, not live, get your application on file. 3 days later, what happened? California paid out on April 28th to viewers who applied on April 25th, 3 days before it went live. Let me say that again. They applied 3 days because California was accepting applications 3 days before it went live. This is what we call a pre-authorization. They're accepting the applications 3 days before it went live, and then they paid out the day it went live. And then guess what happened? People who waited for it to go live on the 28th didn't get paid for like 2 more months. Yeah, this is sort of like the notion of buying tickets for BTS way in advance. Yeah, you buy the tickets in advance. You don't wait till the day they go out on sale. You get the pre-authorization. That's how you do it. So let's go back to that map and understand the situation. You need to do this today. Actually, you need to do this. You need to do this last Friday when I told you about it. This is either in live status or pre-authorization, meaning pre-authorization. Let's go back to Ohio. If you go to Ohio, for example, Pink State, it actually says submit your pre-authorization right now, which basically means you get it in, and then when it goes live, you get paid that day. So you don't wait around for it to go live. Again, translation, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So what is this? It's huge. It is what I'm calling on this channel a forced stimulus add-on. The only difference is the forced stimulus Build Back Better Act, not law. This is law. It was first detailed on this channel to the viewership of this channel the moment it was announced. You didn't hear in broadcast media, you didn't hear in print media. Why? Because it was a buried news article. When I mean buried, it was less covered than Mitch's Lobster Fest. It was just nowhere to be found. I found it, and I said, "Hey, here we go. This is your payday. Get this money, $15,000 to $80,000 a check. Number one. Who gets this? If you own a home, you can get this. And let me go over the eligibility for this money right now. First, how much? $15,000 to $80,000 per household, number one. Number two, the eligibility is just like a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less, needs to be your zone of income. Married couple, $150,000 less, that's generally your zone of income as well. If you are on benefits and own a home and are in that zone of income, you can get it. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, you can get it. How do you find out how to get this money? Becoming a member. Countless viewers have become members since this program went live. I feature this in the membership newsletter for members as early as last Friday, the first day it went live. As soon as it was announced, it went right into the membership newsletter for members. The membership newsletter goes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system. It features in the very start of the membership newsletter this program, the link to apply, the name of the program, the eligibility, the amount, the items it covers, and the latest status update of what's going on with it. It also features the membership newsletter, third sim, which you can get as well. I'm going to go to that in a second. So let's go over the money in this incredible program. First, you have to own a home. And number two, you have to be in the zone of income qualification, which we just went over. Other than that, you're ready to rock and roll. Go get the money. $15,000 to $80,000 per household. And it covers stuff that many viewers of the channel have wanted coverage for a very long time and I haven't had coverage for, like property taxes, homeowners insurance, association fees, utilities, and certain home repairs. Wow, this is absolutely incredible. Again, it's $15,000 to $80,000. It's for my homeowners. Now, let me make very clear. If you're watching this video and you don't own a home, you're a renter, good news, because I got money for you as well. We have two things to work on. We have this one, homeowners grant for homeowners. And then we have third stimulus, which is for homeowners and for renters. So homeowners, you have two things you get for money for. Yes, you can get both of them. And then I've had really great questions for viewers coming in. Let me just sort of broadly say them, answer them. Mobile home, this type of home, that type of home. Just go apply. Just go apply. Every state is different. Every state is different. And believe me, I went to one state. It had it right there on the front page. It said this type of home. If it's this type of mobile home, do not apply because you think that your home is, I don't know. Just go to the application website and you are ready to rock and roll. Congratulations. Now, the other thing that's very important you understand, you know this because we've been doing this for a while now on this channel, is that third stimulus is still paying out. Here's third stimulus in this hand. Third stimulus still paying out. This fourth stimulus paying out at the same time. The two of them are paying out at the same time. Fourth stimulus and third stimulus still paying out at the same time. Sixth stimulus will also pay out at the same time. So do not think because I've chosen a numbering system, I could have used a letter system, A, B, C, instead of 1, 2, 3, that you have to do one before you do the other, and that one program has to be ending before the other. So the great news is that the sixth stimulus package is happening both nationally and internationally, and also locally. What is the sixth stimulus package? Tonight on Evenings Lalate, I'll feature more about the sixth stimulus package. It's huge. And this will be potentially the biggest social spending program you've seen of a generation, bigger than the first stimulus package. Let's go over what the sixth stimulus package is. If you think of the first stimulus package of spring of last year as a COVID needed stimulus package, the sixth stimulus package will be for, in basic terms, oil, gasoline prices, and energy situation. But you will see tonight on Evenings Lalate that the sixth stimulus package is more than just a stimulus package because the price of gasoline in the United States is not sustainable. It will be a little bit more than that. And this is where you're hearing the pivot internationally, and you're going to hear the details only here. Why? There's a series of major economic events that are unfolding because of Vladimir Putin, and France, Germany, and the United States have all said we're going to align as economic partners and make sure we get our countries off of Vladimir Putin's stuff. And getting off of Vladimir Putin's stuff, we can't send our economies into recession. So how do we keep our economies, our countries out of recession? We raise debt. And we raise debt by spending. And in raising debt by spending, we give money to our citizens. Translation? We as leaders of our countries can't allow our citizens to go under. So we'll raise debt and give them money to alleviate the pressure of getting off of Russian products. How did this start? Where did it start? What's going on? Let me go over all the details of it so you understand broadly, and then go on the specifics of it tonight on Evenings Lalate. It started over a week ago when Anthony Blinken, your Secretary of State, met with those world leaders, said we need to get off of Russian oil. For them, it's an economic issue. For us, it's a moral issue because only 3% of our gasoline consumed in the United States is from Russia. So it doesn't make us any big economic burden to get off of Russian oil because we don't use much Russian oil here. But for our partner countries, it does. 40% of the gasoline comes from Russia. And Germany has a pipeline directly from Russia to Germany. So Germany initially said, no, I can't do it. We don't have a situation lined up to alleviate the situation. Then Germany, which is led by a leader that is aligned politically like Joe Biden, a Democrat, and France, whose leader is also aligned like Joe Biden as a Democrat, his name is Macron, said, you're right, we have to, as economic forces, morally get off of Russian oil. And we may not have that solution for another type of oil ready right away, but the way we get off of this Russian oil and other Russian products is we spend so that we avoid any potential recession for our society. And that spending will be not only in France, not only in Germany, not only in the United States, but also with our partner allied countries. So that is basically the concept of sixth stimulus. Let me go over the details of it now with you and how it lines up both domestically and locally. It's very fascinating. Sixth stimulus really took a formulation, manifest itself about a week ago when those leaders said, you're right, Blinken, we have to get off of Russian products morally. And we have to economically survive when we get off of Russian products. So the way we're going to do it is massive spending domestically. Our citizens of Germany will not be able to afford these prices of gasoline with Russian oil gone, but they're going to afford it. We're going to give them cash. United States, same approach as well. And guess what? As soon as I made the first recording about this, which I think was March 8th, in prime time on Evenings LA, you'll see it tonight again at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, within about an hour of that show broadcasting, your state governors announced their versions of six stimulus as well. What's their version of six stimulus? State governors are already telling their citizens of their state that they're trying to come up with domestic state programs that alleviate your pressure for gasoline at the pump. For one state governor, for example, is saying, we're considering waiving gasoline taxes. So instead of paying $5 at the pump, you'll pay $1 at the pump. That's incredible stimulus. Suddenly your gasoline would be the cheapest you've seen in only 15, 20 years. So let's go over the details of what is going on with this incredible six stimulus package right now and why it's a little bit more than gasoline. The reason why it's more than gasoline is because there are more economic issues that Vladimir Putin's causing than gasoline. The first one is gas, and gas may get solved, but that doesn't mean that six stimulus is going away. Let me go over the details of it right now. And I'm going to go in right in. Let's start with gas so you understand the situation with gas. And this, I have something brand new for you today. You learn something, and I learn something every day. Did you know that West Texas gasoline may not be the actual solution for domestic production? What? Okay. So there's a quality issue about West Texas gasoline. It's really good. It's really good. And apparently a new report says that while we can increase production of gasoline in West Texas, it may be a little bit too good a gasoline that may have to go through some permutations to be available as gasoline at your pump. What's going on here? It's like it's a good version of olive oil. The national average of gasoline today in the United States, according to AAA, is $4.33. $4.33. It's up about 3 cents from yesterday. Republicans and governor, including Texas Governor Greg Abbott, has suggested increasing Texas production. I've suggested this since day one of Vladimir Putin's invasion. We do produce a lot of oil domestically, but just because we get out of the ground, it doesn't mean we can actually refine it here. Oh, what is that? That is brand new on Afternoons LA, starting right now. That's energy analyst Josh Rhodes in an analysis I have not heard until today. A lot of our refineries, apparently along the Gulf Coast in Mexico, along the Gulf Coast of Texas, are built for lower quality crude that comes from the Middle East and Russia and Canada. But the gasoline that comes from West Texas is a little too fancy. It's a little too fancy. And so it's actually harder to turn the fancy crude out of West Texas into gasoline and diesel, which is lower quality crude. Let's go over that again. I have to make a joke here. The gasoline that comes out of and I do not want to get the hate comments. If you live in these states, do not send me hate comments. If you live along the Gulf Coast of Texas, your gasoline is sort of crude. If you live in West Texas, your gasoline is sort of ritzy. So apparently, if it's too ritzy, it needs to be modified so that could be delivered as gasoline and diesel. And I know there's going to be an oil baron. J.R. Ewan's going to send me a message saying, you got to invert it. I'm trying my best here. I'm not the oil conversion channel. How do you convert from high quality oil to low quality oil? So the ramping up of production in West Texas may be a little bit more complicated than even I had thought, that you need to have it available to switch into a particular situation. 4% of Russian oil is only U.S. consumption. So the United States, I had told you earlier this week, was going to have, by the middle of the week, a ban of Russian oil. It's taking a little bit longer. That legislation will pass. It's a moral piece of legislation. But in banning the Russian oil domestically, that's not the problem. The problem is ramping up production. And as detailed tonight on 80s LA, the White House has been insanely evasive about the subject matter. Your energy secretary made a major pivot on Thursday, where she said that she will welcome a ramping up production in West Texas, welcome it, but hasn't asked for it, which is very different. And I picked up with it, and so did everyone else in broadcast media. West Texas has since day one said, we'll ramp up production, and that ramp up has not been instructed by the White House. Will that instruction come? We will see. Remember, we need to ramp up production domestically to reduce price of gasoline at the pump. The more gasoline, the cheaper it is. The less gasoline, the more expensive it is. The way you get more gasoline, you pump more. Where can we pump more? West Texas. West Texas willing to pump? Absolutely. They're Americans for Americans. So they said, I'm ready to pump. And they actually said, the White House has not reached out to them. They're not ready to pump because they haven't gotten clearance for it. Now, that's half of the equation. The other half, well, it's only a quarter of the equation. The other next quarter of the equation is our international partner allies. Germany has a big problem. 40% of gasoline comes from Russia, and it doesn't have a solution lined up. This should have been lined up back in October. And Evenings Ally tonight, I'll explain to you why the White House has really messed up this situation, because everyone would have seen this risk back in October, but we certainly saw this risk 11 days ago. I was recording on channel. There's a risk. Your partner countries need to get off of Russian oil and get a partner country like Venezuela or United Arab Emirates to get their oil released to our partner countries like Germany. That deal has not been formulated. The White House can raise the corporate minimum tax rate by an allegiance in a Scotland or Ireland meeting in 2021 in less than 3 days, but can't get the partner countries to get off of Russian oil and get another country lined up. Should be top priority number one of this administration. This is economics 101. This is very, very basic stuff. Brian Deasy went to Yale. I would assume this was in the first semester of his economics class. I mean, this is very basic situation. So this allegiance should have gotten the OPEC plus countries to increase production. They're not yet. This allegiance should have gotten United Arab Emirates to release some of their gasoline. Hasn't yet. This allegiance should have gotten Germany and France to absolutely commit to get off of Russian oil and have someone else provide, like Venezuela. Hasn't happened yet. And why is this even more troubling? Because Vladimir Putin may jump us all to the gun. And what is he vowing to do? Cut off the pipe. Vladimir Putin has an actual dedicated pipe to Germany, Nord 1, and is vowing to cut it off. Imagine you wake up one morning, you're in Germany, and there's no oil because Vladimir Putin says, I'm tired of you bothering me. I'm cutting off your oil. That's problem number one, oil. Problem number two, wheat, grain, soybean, corn, all from the Black Sea. There's no one able to tender the crop because the farmers are fighting the war to defend their country. There is no one preparing the soil for next season, and the soil is being ruined by bombings from Vladimir Putin. So the soil is going to be ruined for years to come. And even if the soil was fine, even the crops were harvested, you can't get them out of the port because Vladimir Putin is trying to control the port of Odessa. Wheat and grain not being shipped internationally raises our prices of wheat and grain domestically. If you remember this channel, I now feature the wheat and grain prices on a daily basis in the newsletter. Why? Because you're going to the supermarket and seeing the price of wheat go up, and you know that's a problem. And this could send us into recession before anything else. Why are we going over this? Again, this is sixth stimulus. Sixth stimulus is not just for oil. It's also for wheat and soybeans and corn. Vladimir Putin is going to send us into a major economic downturn if these solutions are not lined up. And then tonight on Evenings Ally, I'll go into the most troubling of the subject matters when we talk about sixth stimulus. It is the banking industry potentially taking a major hit because of exposure of Russian investments. Banks are closing Russian operations. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about they're closing the door and locking the window. I'm talking about they have positions in Russian bonds that are about to become junk bond status, no value, Russian equities, or they have Russian engagement transactions with other banks that are about to become devalued. And they're about to take that major corporate hit in their latest corporate earnings. Where is the pivot on that one? It's sixth stimulus. And tonight I feature it in prime time. And with that, I'm excited for you to join me. Meantime, third stimulus. Don't forget that third stimulus is still paying out. Yes, we have third stimulus paying out right now, fourth stimulus paying out right now, and also sixth stimulus happening at the same time. Let's look at that third stimulus right now because I want you to get those sums of money. Third stimulus is the ability to get that rent and also that homeowner's assistance. So it's for both of you, and it's featured in the membership newsletter. Where do you get that money? You're going to reach out to 6 places to get those incredible sums of money. And let's look at them right now. Your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must get multiple applications on file, and you must do multiple rounds. Applications are important. Those rounds can give you 3 to 5 months of rent. Open that membership newsletter. Get that membership newsletter because in there, I feature the nonprofits, not feature the video. The nonprofits pay for home repairs. A lot of people are asking about home repairs, and you can get this overlap. You can get a home repairs from the nonprofits, home repairs from that $80,000 of checks, and home repairs from other items. So you can get these overlaps. Don't worry about overlaps. Next, Lean on the nonprofits. There they are. And get these sums of money. The average viewer of the channel is getting $45,000 for this money. Do it today. Don't wait. Get these incredible sums of money. Get them right now. The money is available and you need it right now in view of what's happening internationally and in view of the inflationary and also recessionary concerns that are out there. Don't wait. Do it today. With inflation growing and the recessionary concerns growing as well, and of course stagflation, you need these sums of money. So get them today. Get that big money from the membership newsletter. The link is under the video. Meantime, coming up tonight on Evenings LA in prime time, it's a 1 hour special broadcast. It's 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. We'll be going over the big money of SS300, 6 stimulus, those $80,000 of 4 stimulus checks. I'll have more about that as well. We have new success stories for viewers who have gotten $10,000 from third stimulus in the last few days. And then we'll be looking at that new piece of legislation from Joe Biden coming next week. And then, of course, a preview of what Jay Powell is going to do with inflation in the next few days. We'll be looking forward and backwards, and we'll analyze the situation internationally that impacts your money across the board. As Vladimir Putin's acts of aggressions are not settling down, so what does it mean for your money at home? What does it mean for recessionary concerns and inflationary concerns? I'll have all those details and more as we go into a big Evenings LA tonight. I look forward to seeing you tonight. It's at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, and always stay motivated, always pounding that money, and don't worry if your color of your state is pink, because pink is moolah as well. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.